All right, now we're going to make a logo of your name, which we are going to use as a watermark, which is something that artists put on their work to sign their work, and sometimes they put it on top of their work to make sure that other people don't steal it and use it as their own. So we're going to make our own using Pixlr. So there's a lot of steps to this. So feel free to pause the video as I am talking so that you can do these steps along with me. All right, so you might be doing multiple of these tasks within the same class period, which is fine. You don't need to close out of this or anything like that. You just go up to File, New Image, and it's going to prompt you through selecting your size, web medium, remember, and then I'm going to title it, my last name and logo, so I know what it is. I'm going to hit create, and there it is. Okay, I don't need these anymore, so I can go ahead and click out of them. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my text tool, which means I'm going to be adding a text layer. So you're going to hit add. So that T there is the text layer. Now the first thing I'm going to want to do is find a font that I like. Okay, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to find a font that you like. There are a lot of cool ones, so take your time searching through. Unfortunately, these that have the crown are only for the fancy people that have the special version. So you got to pick one without a crown. I like that guy. Oh, it's on green. Okay, I was like, why can't I see that? I am going to leave this as white so I can actually see what the heck it is. And I'm going to double click. You can use your first name, you can use your initials, you can use your last name. That is up to you. Okay, so I'm going to do my last name, and I want to make this as big as possible in the drawing space that I have here. I want it to be in the middle. I don't need this whole box. I'm actually going to shift it over. And then I'm going to keep grabbing it and dragging it because I don't need all that space. Goodness. Seriously, where is my name here? Jeez. Okay. Getting closer. All right, so I want my whole name to fit there. There we go. I can probably make it even bigger. Let's see if that'll fit once it catches up. There we go. Okay, that looks great. So that's the first step, is deciding what letters you're going to do. Again, it could be your initials, it could be a nickname, it could be your last name. That's up to you. Another thing that you might want to do is you can go up under Format, and you can make it bolder if you want. You don't have to, but you can, so that's an option. And you want it to take up as much space as possible in here. Okay, so if you need to pause and take care of doing all those steps, please do that. Okay, the next step is making this a little bit more fancy. So we are going to actually be adding a pattern into our letters. So you have to think about what you like to do, okay? I obviously am an art teacher, so I'm going to kind of search for something artsy. Maybe I can search for watercolor backgrounds. So I can search through. I like this one. Maybe I might want something that's all more one color. I like this one too. I think I'm going to go with this one. So I am going to click on it so that I can see it, and then I'm going to go to right-click, copy image address. Remember, if you're using your trackpad, tap with 2 fingers, copy image address. Now I'm going to go back to Pixlr. And I'm going to go to Layer, add URL as layer, tap with 2 fingers, right-click, Control-V to paste it, and hit Load. Okay, so it's a little small, so I know I want to resize that. So I'm going to go to File, nope, just kidding, Edit, and Free Transform. I'm going to hold my Control key so I don't make it all wonky. And I want it to completely cover up my letters so that I can't see my letters, okay? Yes, I want to apply the transformation. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to be able to see my letters. So I'm going to take this over here where my layers are. I'm going to drag my watercolor background underneath of my letters. Okay, easy peasy. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that whatever these white letters are covering up of this watercolor background become my letters. So I think I want more of the blue and purples, turquoises, and less of these reds and pinks. So I'm going to kind of drag this down. All right, now I'm going to use our wand tool. Okay, so I am making sure I am on that layer that has my text. I've got my wand. And now contiguous means it's going to only select things that are touching. So when I click with my wand, it's going to select everything that's that color that is right next to what I click. Okay. Now, if I did that, then I'm going to have to do each letter individually. We don't have to do that. We can unselect this thing that says contiguous. And I'm going to click my L now. And see, now it's selecting all of my letters. Okay. So once it's selecting all of my all of my letters, now I'm going to tell it to basically select everything else. Okay. So I'm going to switch to my watercolor background. I am going to go to Select, and I'm going to invert selection. Okay, so now instead of selecting my letters, it is selecting my background. Okay, and now I'm going to go to Backspace, hit Backspace, and now that's gone. But what it did was it selected the watercolor background underneath of my letters, and it saved those. So if I hide my text layer, you can see I'm left with just my watercolor background within my letters. Okay, so I don't need this layer anymore. So I can select it and then hit the trash can. Okay, and now I've got my lovely thing that I'm going to use as my watermark. Okay, or my logo. So I'm going to click just to get rid of these. I call these dancing ants. Okay, when you have something selected, it's only going to let you do any work in that area. So to get rid of them, I just click on this dotted line box and then I click in the black surrounding space. Okay, so now I've got my cool logo, or what I'm going to use as my little logo. Now I'm going to go to File, Save. I want to save it as a PNG this time. It does matter this time how you save it. I want to make sure transparent is selected, because that means that it's not going to have anything behind my letters. It's just going to be my letters. I'll go to Save As. Make sure my Google Drive was selected, which it is since I've been working on this for a while. Pixlr is selected. Great. Salo logo, PNG, file. Now I'm going to save it. Perfect. All right, so now I'm ready to add that into my portfolio. So again, I'm going to go up to Insert, Image, Drive, Hopefully it's in my recent. There we go. All right, so now it's on there. Great, grand, wonderful. I'm going to show you what we can do with this. So I can use this basically as a signature for my work. So let's say open image. All right, so let's say I had my task 1. I can use my logo as a little signature. So now I can go to add image as layer. And I can go to my Sala logo. Sorry, I had to find the right one. Hit open. And it's right there. So let me grab my move tool because I don't really want it to take up all of the space on my landscape. So I can hold my control button and start to shrink this from the corner. Make it smaller. Okay, so it can be like a little signature on all of my work. So I can sign my work or add this however I want to. If I wanted to change it a little bit, there is something kind of cool that you can do. I can right click, remember that's tap with 2 fingers on your keyboard, and I can play with the opacity, which means I can make it more transparent. So if I want it to be kind of see-through, like you can barely tell it's there, I can change the opacity, which is pretty cool. So, well, as we are doing our work and our final projects, I'll have you put your little logo onto your work like that, and that way I'll be able to tell it's yours.